For most of my life, my period was just this thing I had to endure. A monthly inconvenience that was sometimes really, really painful, but, just a fact of life. That's what I truly believed. This is my story, but honestly, it's the story of millions of us. It's about how I stopped seeing my period as a curse and started seeing it as what it really is, a vital compass for my health. And this quote, this was my life every single month. I would literally schedule my life around the days I knew I'd be completely out of commission. I'd have to cancel plans, I'd miss school, I'd just be curled up in a ball with a heating pad, telling myself, well, this is just what being a woman is like. Everyone told me that. Doctors, my family, you name it. And for a long, long time, I believed them. So what did just a bad period actually feel like for me? It wasn't just a little discomfort. It was a total life disruption. It felt like someone hit the pause button on my life for a whole week, every single month. I'd see my friends going out, playing sports, just living, and I felt like I was a prisoner in my own body. Now, here's the thing that really gets me. All of these symptoms, I saw them as totally separate problems. The crippling pain? Well, that was obvious. The heavy bleeding? I just thought, okay, I gotta manage this. But the fatigue? I honestly thought I was just lazy. The digestive issues? Must be a sensitive stomach. And that anxiety and moodiness? That's just PMS. It never, ever occurred to me to connect all the dots and see this for what it was, one giant, flashing red light. And it turns out this feeling of being sidelined by your period is, well, it's not unique at all. It's a global issue. In some places, the restrictions aren't just about pain, they're deeply cultural. Look at this. In Afghanistan, 70% of girls report not bathing during their period. In West Bengal, 71% can't go to religious functions. My life felt restricted, but for so many girls and women, it truly is. So for me, everything changed one night. I was doing one of those late-night internet deep dives, desperately looking for a better painkiller, just anything that would help. And I stumbled into these forums, these medical articles, and for the very first time, I saw my experience described not as a complaint, but with actual medical terms. Words like endometriosis and heavy menstrual bleeding just kept popping up. And there it was, right on the screen, heavy menstrual bleeding, or HMB. But it wasn't just that. I learned HMB often isn't even the root problem. It's a huge red flag for other underlying conditions. Things like endometriosis, which would explain the insane levels of pain. It had a name. My normal had a name, and it was a treatable medical condition. Reading that, it was like a light switched on in a room I didn't even realize was pitch black. And then I saw this chart, and everything just clicked into place. An incredible 60% of women with HMB also have an iron deficiency, and for nearly a third of them, it's full-blown iron deficiency anemia. All of a sudden, my crushing bone-deep fatigue made perfect sense. It wasn't a character flaw. It was a direct physiological result of an untreated condition. My body wasn't just losing blood, it was losing the very thing it needed for energy. After that first wave of relief, something else washed over me. Anger. I was just so angry. Why did I have to figure this out myself from some random website at 2 a.m.? Why had no doctor in over a decade ever brought up endometriosis, or even just the term HMB? And that question, that's when my focus shifted from just my own body to the bigger picture. I started to realize that my problem wasn't just medical, it was cultural. We live in a world that is just so deeply uncomfortable with talking about menstruation. It's supposed to be private, maybe even a little shameful, definitely not something you discuss. And that silence, it has real, serious health consequences. This quote really it says it all, doesn't it? The silence isn't harmless. It creates this vacuum, and that vacuum gets filled with fear and myths. We learn all the things we shouldn't do. Don't talk about it, don't let anyone know, don't complain. But we're not taught what's normal, what's not, and when we need to ask for help. So let's just break this down side by side. On one hand, you've got these myths that have been around forever. And the most damaging one, at least for me, was this idea that terrible pain is just part of the deal. But on the other hand, you have the simple biological facts. Menstrual fluid is natural. And this is the big one. Severe pain is not a rite of passage, it's a signal. It's your body telling you something might be wrong. And the impact of this silence is so real, you can actually measure it. In some places, nearly 1 out of every 3 girls misses school because of her period. Just let that sink in. A third of young women having their education disrupted month after month,
all because a totally manageable biological function is wrapped in so much shame. But here's the part of the story that gives me so much hope. I learned that I'm not alone in feeling frustrated about this. There are incredible people, researchers, advocates, policymakers, all over the world who are fighting to tear down this culture of silence and create a totally new standard for menstrual health. And this is how real change actually happens. It's not just one magic bullet. It's a whole system. Experts call it a theory of change. You start with inputs, things like funding and resources. That leads to activities like education programs. From there, you get outputs. More people have knowledge, more people have products. And the outcome? Better health, less stigma. The final impact is what we're all after. More people able to participate in school and work. And most importantly, living with dignity. And what's so cool is that these programs are actually being tracked and measured. This isn't just wishful thinking. They use these frameworks to measure everything from product quality to whether they're actually debunking myths out in the community. It's all about making sure that what they're doing is really, truly working. Learning all of this, it really brought my whole journey full circle. It began with my own personal pain and confusion, and it led me to this whole new understanding, not just about my body, but about the world we live in. And it gave me a completely new and much more powerful perspective. So if there's one thing you take away from all this, let it be this. Pain is not the price you have to pay for being a woman. It is not. It's communication. It's your body giving you data, trying to tell you something important. And you deserve to be listened to.
Which brings me to this final question. What if we started treating the menstrual cycle like any other vital sign? With the same importance as our blood pressure, our heart rate, our temperature. What if we saw it as a key indicator of our overall wellness? Because if we did that, maybe we'd all start listening to our bodies a lot sooner. We demand better care. And we could finally end this culture of silence that tells us our pain is just normal. What could change if we all started using our health compass?